Καλησπέρα. Ευχαριστώ. Καλώς ήρθατε. Χαίρομαι, νομίζω φαίνεται, είμαι τρομερά αγχωμένος, αλλά είμαι και πάρα πολύ χαρούμενος. Χαίρομαι πολύ που βλέπω πάρα πολλές γνωστές και αγαπημένα πρόσωπα, αλλά και βλέπω και αρκετά νέα πρόσωπα που δεν γνωρίζω και χαίρομαι και γι' αυτό. Χαίρομαι λοιπόν που είστε εδώ σήμερα μαζί μας, να μοιραστούμε κάτι που θεωρούμε ότι είναι μια πάρα πολύ σημαντική στιγμή για μας. Και όταν λέω για μας, δεν μιλάω μόνο για το lab. Νομίζω ότι έχετε καταλάβει ότι αυτό δεν είναι απλά κάτι που κάνουμε εμείς στη σχολή μας, αλλά είναι μια πολύ σημαντική στιγμή για τη μουσική σκηνή της χώρας. Έτσι το βλέπουμε. Έχει και μια σημειολογία το ότι είμαστε σήμερα εδώ και δεν είμαστε στη σχολή. Γνωρίζετε οι περισσότεροι από εσάς, κάποιοι και από εμπειρία, ότι οι μουσικές σπουδές ανωτάτου επίπεδου στα πανεπιστήμια της Ολλανδίας είναι η νούμερο 1 επιλογή τα τελευταία χρόνια για τους νέους Έλληνες μουσικούς. Για πάρα πολλούς λόγους που δεν χρειάζεται να αναλύσω εγώ φυσικά, θα το δούμε στη συνέχεια από κάποιον πιο υπεύθυνο, πιο κατάλληλο από μένα. Παρακολουθούμε λοιπόν όλο αυτό. Φυσικά είμαστε και εμείς μέσα σε αυτή τη σκηνή. Πολλοί μαθητές μας έχουν αυτή την αγωνία να συνεχίσουν τις σπουδές τους, να πάνε στο εξωτερικό. Και ομολογώ ότι τα τελευταία χρόνια μας είχε δημιουργηθεί μια ιδιαίτερη συμπάθεια για ένα από αυτά, το Codarts, το Κονσερβατόριο του Ρότερνταμ. Αυτό είχε ως αποτέλεσμα να το προτείνουμε σαν επιλογή σε αρκετούς μαθητές μας και να έχουμε και τη χαρά 3 από αυτούς να είναι τώρα να σπουδάζουν εκεί. Μάλιστα ένας από αυτούς, ο Γιώργος Πουλιάσης, μπορεί να τον ξέρετε, σήμερα το βράδυ στον Γκαγκάριν θα παίξει με την μπάντα του και το οποίο θα θεωρηθεί ως η συναυλία η πτυχιακή αποφοίτησης από το Codarts και θα γίνει στην Ελλάδα. Δεν έχει ξαναγίνει. Ένα κάτι πολύ όμορφο νομίζω, μια πρωτοβουλία του Γιώργου που αμέσως αγκάλιασε και το Codarts και το επέτρεψε να συμβεί. Θέλαμε λοιπόν όμως κάτι περισσότερο. Θέλαμε ένα πιο δυνατό δεσμό, να μπορούμε να προετοιμάσουμε καλύτερα τους μαθητές μας, γιατί είχαμε συνέχεια απορίες. Τι χρειάζεται για να περάσω, είναι πολύ δύσκολο, πώς να τα καταφέρω. Να τους προετοιμάσουμε καλύτερα και ίσως να διευκολύνουμε λίγο τον καθόλου εύκολο δρόμο που πρέπει να πάρει κάποιος για να τα καταφέρει να μπει με επιτυχία. Δεν ήταν και πολύ εύκολο, πήρε κάποια χρόνια. Τα τελευταία 2-3 χρόνια ήμουν ιδιαίτερα ενοχλητικός. Δεν με έβρισαν τελικά. Οπότε ο διευθυντής του Codarts, ο Wessel Copes, ένας εξαιρετικός άνθρωπος, έχω μόνο τα καλύτερα να πω για αυτόν, εντυπωσιασμένος κυρίως από την επιμονή μου, αλλά περισσότερο από όλα από το γεγονός ότι 3 μαθητές μας ήταν αυτή τη στιγμή εκεί. Σου λέει, θέλω να δω γιατί είναι 3 από την ίδια χώρα, από την Ελλάδα, και πώς τυχαίνει και οι 3 να είναι από αυτή τη σχολή. Πάω να δω τι κάνουνε, ας πούμε, να δω τι γίνεται, τι πάει στραβά. Ήρθε λοιπόν και μετά από συζητήσεις που κάναμε, του ενθουσιάστηκε και αυτός με την ιδέα του να δοκιμάσει για πρώτη φορά, κάτι που δεν είχε ξαναγίνει, να γίνουν εισαγωγικές εξετάσεις για το Codarts για πρώτη φορά εκτός Ολλανδίας. Ήρθε αυτή η ώρα, ήταν η χθεσινή μέρα, μια υπέροχη πολύ πολύ μακριά μέρα και νύχτα. Έχω και ένα σκονάκι εδώ, στην οποία δεκάδες μαθητές, θέλω να σας πω ότι επειδή είχαμε πραγματικά πολύ λίγο χρόνο, γιατί αυτό αποφασίστηκε αρχές Φεβρουαρίου, και μάλιστα είχαμε την αμφιβολία να το κάνουμε φέτος, να το κάνουμε του χρόνου. Θέλαμε και εμείς και αυτοί να το κάνουμε φέτος και το κάναμε. Και είχαμε μερικές δεκάδες μαθητές από Ελλάδα και Κύπρο που πρόλαβαν να φτιάξουν τις αιτήσεις τους και 15 από αυτούς χθες... Ο Χάνς, θα μιλήσω αργότερα. Λοιπόν, 15 από αυτούς έφτασαν μέχρι την χθεσινή μέρα που ήταν η ακρόαση και θα σας τα πει αργότερα και ο ειδικός. Όμως 7 από αυτούς έχουν καταφέρει να είναι επιλέξιμοι για το Codarts και να είναι στη λίστα τους. Κάτι που μας χαροποιεί ιδιαίτερα και κάτι που και τους ίδιους μπορώ να πω ότι τους εντυπωσίασε και τους ενθουσίασε. Λοιπόν, όμως η συνεργασία αυτή δεν είναι κάτι που είναι one-off, δεν είναι κάτι, ένα πυροτέχνημα, ότι χθες έγινε αυτό και θα περιοριστεί εκεί. Η συνεργασία μας θα επεκταθεί και σε άλλους τομείς. Έχουμε στα πλάνα τη δημιουργία ενός επίσημου προπαρασκευαστικού προγράμματος για το Codarts εδώ στην Αθήνα, τη διοργάνωση σεμιναρίων και events, την ανταλλαγή τεχνογνωσίας, ύλης, πολύ σημαντικά πράγματα από ανθρώπους που έχουν πάρα πολύ μεγάλη εμπειρία και που νομίζω ότι θα μας βοηθήσει να πάμε στο επόμενο level. Φυσικά, τίποτα από όλα αυτά δεν θα γίνει αν αρκετοί άνθρωποι δεν ίδρωναν, δεν ξενυχτούσαν, δεν έκαναν το extra mile που λένε για να γίνει αυτό εφικτό. Φυσικά είναι η ομάδα μας, η Σοφία, η Δώρα, ο Κάμιλ, ο Σωτήρης, δούλεψαν χθες over the clock που λένε στο χωριό μου. Και φυσικά ο Γρηγόρης Οντάνης και ο Αλέξανδρος Οκτιστάκης, που πολύ τιμητικά μας ζήτησαν από το Codarts να συμμετέχουν και ήταν μέλη της Επιτροπής χθες όλη την ημέρα. Αλλά και η house band που είχαμε ήταν ο Μιχάλης ο Καπηλίδης, κάπου εδώ είναι, ευχαριστούμε πολύ, ο Γιώργος ο Γεωργιάδης, ο Ρέσης ο Πετράκης, ο Γιώργος ο Δάφνος, ο Χρήστος ο Γεχρής βοήθησε πάρα πολύ στο κομμάτι το θεωρητικό, μια μικρή προετοιμασία που προσφέραμε στα παιδιά. Σοφία. Ναι. Λοιπόν, νομίζω αυτά από εμένα. Το βράδυ να ξέρετε ότι έχουμε και ένα event στην Αφρικάνα που θα παίξει μια μπάντα, η Αράμπνα, μπάντα του Γρηγόρη του Τζάνη, του Σεξτέτο, και θα γίνει και ένα jam μετά από τους καθηγητές του Lab και του Codarts, αλλά και όποιον άλλον το επιθυμεί. Θα χαρούμε να σας δούμε και εκεί. Ευχαριστώ στο τέλος την Επιτροπή, τον Έλκο, τον Ed, τον απίστευτο Hans που είναι εκεί. Και σας αφήνω στα πάρα πολύ καλά χέρια της Λίντα Blumhardt, που είναι η διευθύντρια του Jazz Τμήματος του Codarts. Λίντα. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Hello. So, it's amazing how many people are here. I mean, I feel like a rock star. It's amazing. So, I'm very happy on behalf of my colleagues that's still here and that were there yesterday to have been invited by Vasilis to come over and to feel and to experience Athens, because most of us hadn't been to Greece ever, while we do have a lot of Greek students and a lot of talents from Greece come through our doors. So it was fantastic, and I want to applaud Vasilis for this initiative again, because he was very perseverant. Now, before I start doing my show and my website and everything, I just want to make sure that if at any moment I go too fast or my English is not clear, please raise your hand or, ask somebody to help you out. And if I go too fast anyway, just go slow down. It's okay. You will be seeing me watching at my phone. I'm not Facebooking in the meantime. I'm just, trying to keep my line of my own story straight. So here go the glasses, of course. So, who am I? Very briefly. My name is Linda Blumhardt. He pronounced it beautifully. I am the head of the jazz department at Codarts. But many moons ago, it was about 1999, I was one of the founders also of the pop department. And I switched over to the jazz department when I felt maybe it's good to switch and have other younger people do their thing. And so then I worked with a jazz musician, and I became the head of the jazz department. So I had the opportunity to actually grow from a teacher, performer, teacher, former alumni, because I studied at the Rotterdam Conservatory myself, a vocalist. And so I've been evolving myself within Codarts for almost 20 years. Wow, that's a long time, but I did it. So now I am the head of the jazz department. And the reason, again, why we're here, of course, I couldn't tell because Vasilis is speaking Greek. My Greek is non-existent, so the reason why we're here was Wessel Koppens, my now colleague of the head of the pop department, finally said we're going to go to Athens and we're going to come here and we're going to check out. So it was an experiment to come here, also for me, for the pop and jazz. The thing I wanted to ask you as an audience, because I know Vasilis, I know that Lab is a music school's franchise, am I correct? So I want to check with you also, because now you know who I am, that's more than enough. Who is actually here in the audience? So how many people are teachers of music? How many have a music school like Lab? How many of you are thinking of doing a studies abroad, for instance, at a school like Codarts? Great, great. Okay, and how many of other conservatories are here? Welcome, very nice, good to meet you. And how many, and this is a bit of a weird question maybe, because maybe you're not into this genre thing, but I'm the head of the jazz department, and I also came with pop colleagues, of course, the genre thing. How many of you are pop musicians by heart and by nature? And yeah, and how many of you are jazz musicians by heart and by nature? Welcome. Wow, that's a good mix. It's a good mix. That's fantastic. Okay. So, yesterday, I want to tell you a bit before I go into our website. We had a fantastic day because it was a very brief moment, a brief period for Vasilis to organize all this. Once it was like, yeah, we're going to work together. He possibly told you. Of course, I don't know. So there were 31 applicants for the audition at Codarts. 15 were in the final selection. And yesterday we selected 7 to be put on our admittance list. So they're not admitted yet, but they are the same level as the people, because next week we will be having our auditions the whole week of all departments. So that's a really high score. And I just want to put it out there that it's really high score. It says a lot about the talent that is here in Athens. It's incredible. So good on you. So we were very happy to work with you, with everybody, and it was, of course, nerve-wracking, as auditions are, but also for us to work with our colleagues. There were some colleagues, comping the whole time, all kinds of material, and also hearing what we had to say about everybody, and then exchanging some experience, and it was a wonderful experience also there. So yeah, now I'm going to go to my selling, like selling TV. This is Codarts. I want to just give you a brief insight, as brief as possible. And at any moment, if you have a question, raise your hand and let me know. So our website is really actual and factually correct. We've been going over it with a tooth comb every time we have auditions. People from the PR department go, is every name correct? So I can honestly say we went over everything, and everything on our website is what is happening right now. And the teachers that are on there are working there right now. So it's very much updated. I want to point that out. So if you go to this page, the first thing I actually wanted to show you is about Codarts. And we have a mission and a vision as a whole institute. And I want to share this with you because we do try as a whole of an institute, so with all our dance departments, all our music departments, and all our circus arts departments, because we have circus arts also, incredible but true. And we have like classical music and pop music and jazz music and 5 world music departments under one roof. And we work together as best as we can because we have a shared mission and vision. And, oh, and then it went wrong. What's happening? Is it the connection? That's what it says. That always happens when you only use technique. But what I can tell you about it while he is doing his darndest to get things working again. Yeah, it's coming, patience. Ah, yeah. Oh, it has a certain time. Ah, okay. Too many people are connected. You should be watching this, not, thing. Anyway, if you could look at me again, then I can tell you a bit about the mission and the vision. There we go. Thank you so much. One of the things we really find important is that our students have certain, let's say, traits. Not all uniformly, everybody is unique, but we have some things that we would like to go from. And I want to show you what they are, if this is working. How do I do that? Yeah, like this. So Codarts, really, we set together, we really did, Management Day. It's a team building. And we said that we want to train talented and driven dancers, musicians, circus performers to become dedicated and inspiring artists, leaders and facilitators ready to spread their wings in a dynamic international context. That's really one of the aims, and we mean it. It's not an easy thing to put out there because it sounds very ambitious, but like Vasilis, you have to have ambition to do something. So, of course, craftsmanship is one of the competencies that we want our students to have. Oldest traditions and latest trends in professional arts. Self-management, that's maybe because we come from Rotterdam, and Rotterdam is a harbor city, and you have a saying in Rotterdam that's really very Rotterdam, and it says something like, you don't talk too much, you do. We really feel like we're going out there and we do stuff. So when we educate also on self-management and the awareness of all the students that they are artists in their own right, and you can, of course, be creative. Actually, you have to be creative and be able to develop your own style in your own face, but you have to be aware of the world. So it's not just entrepreneurial, but it's also being aware of the world around you. And this asks for some self-management also during your studies. So you are self-conscious designers of your own future. Sounds fantastic. Diversity. We have about 60 nationalities in our school. 60. So as the world, and knowing the world as it is now, we are very much aware of that this diversity needs a lot of assistance and a lot of facilitating communication. So that's also what we're very aware of. But we love the diversity, not only in music, in what kind of arts, what kind of angle you come from, but you are open to the diversity as a student of Codarts. The other one is very important, is to be inquisitive. Actually, to never stop learning, never stop looking for the new thing. If you close off, if you go like, this is how I do it, and I'm not going to change my mind, you're going to have a tough job in life, but also as a musician. So you have to be open-minded. Connectivity. We have well, because we exist for the longest time as a school, we have a great network. The city of Rotterdam is really booming. I mean, all of a sudden we've become the next best thing next to Amsterdam. Well, that was a long time. That was unexpected. But, it's really nice. And the connectivity in the city, but also in the region and in the country, is what we work for. And in everything in our education, we invite people, the experts from outside, to have a say, to have a look at our education, at our talents. And we also venture out there to find new talents, just like we did now. So basically, these are sort of the pillars that we try to build our educational program on. Any questions about this, or can I just talk on? Yeah? Okay, fantastic. So, then, what I wanted to show you, of course, is the study programs. If you go to our website, you will see all kinds of information. If you go back here. Bachelor. These are all the departments. We are from the jazz and the pop. This is our page, and each page has a uniform layout. So we cover every music department, every performance department covers sort of the same areas, like the program, admission, I go over it very quickly, like this. Ooh, come on, do it. Yes. All kinds of practical info. We have our teachers, and this is an interesting thing, of course, because the teachers that we have, we know them. They are our local and national heroes, like you have here too. But for international students, it's not that evident, like who's the teacher. Some they might know, and some they don't. So it's always interesting to me also, if you are looking into studying abroad, and if you look at the faculties that you have, what is it actually as somebody who wants to go and study at Codarts, what is it that you're looking for? Because I know that we try to make the teams as best as we can, diverse, built on tradition, being out there with the newest things, all of our teachers are performers, so they are out there in the field, and but they have their own views, of course, also of how the world and where they came from when they were studying and how the music world is now. It has changed dramatically. So it takes adjustment also for our teachers. But they are very aware, I think, and we try to be aware also as a school. We have a student life which revolves about the health, mental and physical health of our students. And it's a very special department in our school. It was built because we have dance departments, so dancers who have physical problems, dietary, all kinds of problems. But it grew into something that we are really proud of, and we have a professorship also on these issues, and we are trying to be very aware of health, mental and physical health for everyone. So from hearing to your voice to dancing to holding your instrument, all of those things. You can also see our alumni on this page, contact and the red button, how to apply also. But I must say that the application deadline has been already. So next week we'll be having our auditions at home. Okay, next point. One of the programs that I want to also talk about is a double degree. Codarts has a connection to the Erasmus University in Rotterdam and also to the Willem de Koning Arts Academy and Codarts, and they call it the higher education, the School of Rotterdam. And they've been bringing together the option to study at the Erasmus University, not all studies, but liberal arts and science studies, and then to also do a degree in the arts, so be it at the Arts Academy or at the Conservatory. You then would have like a program of 5 years of 300 ECTS, but 2 diplomas, 2 genuine diplomas. And we started this 3 years ago, and it's growing in numbers. People are applying for it. So do a university study and a higher education, because that's one thing I learned also yesterday. The name conservatory in the Netherlands is higher education, so not university, but a bit below. But conservatory here is what in the Netherlands we would name music schools. So not for a real diploma. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, if I misunderstood. I see people going, is it correct? I got it right, okay. So, but it's important to also realize when you're applying that in Rotterdam, yeah. Oh, somebody's not there and left his phone? That's so typical. Ah, yes, fantastic. That there are more ways than one to study at Codarts. For instance, the double degree. Okay, because we're so very much busy with bringing our students out there, we have something that is called the Codarts Agency. And it's still a work in progress, but mainly what happens is any request for musicians, dancers, or circus arts, there's a team getting all these requests in and looking in our school for these talents and to connect them to the question on the outside world. It's just there is a demand, we know how to find them, and then we connect them. This is one of the things that we try to do to make all students aware that it is about whatever you do, be ready to play, be ready to perform, have your story ready, have a photograph, have your website, have your, everything. Be ready to have a good talk, selling, pitch, and be ready to work. That's basically what we're saying. Okay. Now, so far so good. I think what I would want to do now is to go to the news, which is here, just to show you how much is going on in Codarts. So we have, for all departments, we try to keep up with all the news, music, dance, circus, and corporate. And it really goes from who's the new professorship to crossover project week, the dance departments, our queen signing a music education covenant, which is fantastic in the Netherlands now again. Meeting students, the Erasmus Jazz Prize finalists, that's one of my projects. Tomorrow we have the finals, so I'm taking a plane at 6 tomorrow morning to be there on time. So pray for me. And another thing that I want to show you, because it's nice to see some things, is we have a lot of clips on YouTube already. And one of the few things that I want to show you, and I hope it's working. Let me see. I had something prepared, but now, of course, it's gone. Okay. The Codarts Pop Orchestra, because we have very much the need to go over all kinds of borders, so genre borders, or perceptions that jazz is better than pop and classical is better than jazz, you know, that kind of, I don't know if you recognize it, but that's, no, it's not, no, okay. I think it's, you know, you can recognize this. It's not true. In our minds, it's not true, but there are people who want to specialize in certain things. And for this, you need a certain kind of focus and a certain kind of skill set. And within that realm, those skill sets are very valuable, but not transferable sometimes to another area of music. But does it make it less valuable? No. So that's basically also where we're coming from. So on this premise, we have now a fantastic initiative that is actually shared by the classical department, pop department, and the jazz department, because as a jazz department, all horns come in via the jazz department. Pop is clear that everybody who wants to do pop comes in there, and classical have all the strings. So this is an orchestra with horns and strings and a pop rhythm section. And the vocalists of the pop department use their own songs, because they make their own songs, and they arrange their own songs as much as they can for a whole orchestra, and then it gets performed. And I'm hoping now that it's working, and that I can.
Of a special kind of mission, or to catch your eye. I'll make my proposition once I lose my inhibitions, and I'll make you mine. There's no explanation for this feeling, this sensation when you walk on by. One more drink to let go. Baby, I don't wanna take it slow. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. Let's make the secret worth our time. Baby, got a little crush, and I think if we don't think too much, we could let ourselves be taken by ways of temptation just for tonight. Tonight.
that's our pop orchestra. And a very funny story is that one of our teachers, he's a bass player, but also a very great studio engineer, actually. And he recorded the whole orchestra and he mixed it. So what you're hearing here is also that he mixed it. And so and I don't want to put anybody down, but just to, you know, to slay a bit of the the assumptions that you might have. He could hear on the recordings, for instance, that the pop rhythm section, because they had been, you know, working on being were super tight, and that the jazz horns, they were like, you know, bringing it together, but that the classical violinists were not so tight. And some of them in the back rows didn't read everything that was on the score. And we didn't tell them like, you see, like that. But what they could take along is that now there is a minor pop for strings, because this is a project that we will be continuing to do. And we want to educate everybody who wants to join this kind of project. So we're not putting them down. We're saying, come along. And the guy who was here, the conductor, makes most of the arrangements and is now working with the strings to be tight, read everything, you know. And there you slay again the whole genre thing. Gender is another issue. I'll come to that later. So that's our pop department. Then I want to show you something. Are you up for another clip, or you want to ask me something? No, you want to see stuff? Okay, fantastic. Okay. How do I go? Yeah. So I have to look it up. One moment. So recently we made a clip as a sort of commercial for our jazz department, and this is Jens Meijer. He's a third-year drummer, and he worked together with our PR communications department, and he wrote his own script. So the voiceover you hear is him speaking in Dutch. The English translation is underneath. So if you want to focus, then don't listen, but read what he says. That's
Ik wil niet alleen drummen. Ik wil componeren terwijl ik aan het drummen ben. De rol van de drummer is heel erg veranderd. Van alleen timekeeper naar veel meer vrijheid in de muziek. En dat vind ik heel nice. Ik ben altijd vroeg op school, zodat ik de eerste ben die gewoon het lokaal kan claimen. In B205. Er staan de fijnste jazzkids om op te spelen en het is altijd een wedstrijd wie die ruimte geboekt krijgt. Soms wil ik nog meer inspiratie en dan ga ik heel de nacht door. Dan pak ik extra jam sessies. Dat vind ik te gek aan het WMDC. Daar heb je een jazzafdeling, popafdeling en wereldmuziekafdeling in één gebouw. Iedereen heeft dezelfde intensiteit en energie terwijl we spelen. Dan hoor ik iedereen's persoonlijkheid door het instrument. Dat is gewoon heel vet. Daarnaast ben ik constant aan het repeteren. Altijd nieuwe muziek om te spelen en optredens om voor te bereiden. We zijn eigenlijk de hele tijd muziek aan het maken. Super vet om met mensen van over de hele wereld te kunnen spelen. Dat is waarom ik het zo vet vind om op Kodarts te studeren. Voor de gave sfeer, de supergoeie docenten en het superhoge niveau. Ik ben Jens Meijer, drummer, componist en student jazz.
So the funny thing is that we don't, again with the genre thing, is that the behavior of our students, if you are a jazz student or a pop student, it's not that different. What you're working with is more different. So we were thinking about how can we bring across that jazz music, for instance, which is, you know, sort of niche kind of area, if you compare it to pop music. How can we just make it as credible as pop music, for instance, or world music? Because I have one clip of our world music department that I would like to share. And one of the things is go to the students and let them tell their story. And this is one of the stories that came out of that. So the way we perceive certain genre areas and the way you are asked to behave there, we feel that it's changing a lot also. I don't know if you have the same experience here, but it's, you know, being a good pop musician is just as difficult as being a good jazz musician in our minds, or being a good classical musician, world music. Being good is being good. So one of the things we didn't speak about, but that we live with every day is a fantastic world music department. We have 5 areas of which it consists, and it's Indian music, Turkish, flamenco, Brazilian Latin, and tango. This was a choice made many, many years ago, and we're now looking at it again to sort of see if we're still actual and if there's still people coming to study it. And in fact, they do, which is fantastic. So one of the things I want to show you is the world music department. And then I'm sort of done with my selling story, and we can go to questions. I have to look it up again.
I have always been afraid of falling into some system in my life. My bachelor was classical harp, but there was way too little creativity in that for me. So I didn't end up very happy with that style. There was too little of myself in it. My brother, he came home from an exchange in Buenos Aires, and he introduced me to the tango, which I fell completely in love with. When we started playing together, something happened. It was the freedom of tango that made me feel amazing, but it was also the sounds of our instruments together, and it opened up a brand new world for us. So I contacted Codarts, and they were willing to design a master study together with me, where we combined these two worlds, the harp and the tango. I'm still so very grateful to them that they wanted to go on this adventure with me. It led me to discovering so many new colors, techniques, and ways I could use my harp. It was really amazing. At Codarts, you are really challenged every day as a musician, but after the study, I realized how much I had really developed and changed. And now I'm sitting here as a much stronger artist.
Which brings me to one of the things that I didn't talk about yet is our master's degree, because we have the bachelor, the double degree, and the master's degree, of course. Also a two-year studies where you have to do artistic research. And we really take that artistic research serious in the sense that it's a practice-based research. So you come with a question, you want to deepen some information for yourself. So whatever it is that you're researching will come out in your performance as well. So it's not a theoretical thing. It's really alive and vibrant. So that's also what we're doing. And she reminded me of the masters. Okay, one last thing I want to show you on our website is information for you as an international student. And you can find it here. international student. It's got all kinds of stuff about Rotterdam, immigration, housing, insurance, grants and loans, Erasmus+. Please go to the website and check it out. If you have any questions, you can always find contact with our administration. It sort of brings me to the end of my commercial for Codarts. So I'm done. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. Oh, that's okay. No questions at all? Then I maybe have a question for you. For the people who are considering, or whom I recognized from the audition yesterday, to study abroad and to go and select schools. And why not go here, for instance? I know it's maybe a sensitive question, but let's just stay together. So for the students who want to go abroad and find out, because yesterday we heard that the Netherlands is specifically popular sometimes. Who wants to share a bit why he or she wants to go abroad to study? Nobody wants to share. No? Should I walk around? Interview you? Yeah? I will. I can interview you for a minute. Why not? Oh, no, please don't. Is this working? Yeah. So I'm guessing, because I saw some hands here. Hey, I saw you yesterday. Yeah. You feel comfortable to share why you came to this audition? A little bit. A little bit? Well, just breathe in, breathe out, and try to feel comfortable. So you auditioned yesterday? Yep. Why did you come to the audition? Why? What was your drive to come and to try it out?
Because I'm considering many years to go abroad to study for guitar. And I think it was the right moment to apply for this.
The right moment for you? Why?
I think I had the right mentality. And this, okay.
The right mentality, so the right mindset. Mindset. And have you ever been to the Netherlands?
No.
No. So did you hear stories about other people who have been there?
From like 2 or 3 friends who study there. One at Utrecht. Yep.
Yeah. And is there anything that sort of stuck in your mind, like, ooh, that's why? The weather, for instance?
No, not the weather, no. The people that they're playing and the connection they have, the scene.
The scene.
Only, yes.
The scene. Yeah, I can confirm that the scene, the music scene in the Netherlands is absolutely very vibrant because of all this diversity. Anybody here? I see you looking away and going, please don't pick me. But I'm picking you. Hey. So, why are you contemplating on going abroad?
Why not?
Why not, indeed?
I thought it was a good moment.
Also.
The timing was good.
Yeah. So also the mindset. Now it's time to go.
Yes, I was thinking about that the last year or something. Yeah. And friends of mine who are now in the Netherlands told me. So I decided to do it.
Okay. So how many of the teachers, who of you were teachers again? Teachers? Nobody puts up their hands now. They go like, I'm not a teacher. So who wants to share? I mean, you're a teacher, right? Yes. And we've met yesterday because also with some other colleagues, he did some fantastic work in accompanying all the people who came to apply. So you studied in Amsterdam? but you went also to the Netherlands and to try out everywhere. What was your drive to do that?
I mean, my specific case is a bit different than most of the people. I guess not too different than the story you heard yesterday from the people who applied, because most of our musicians start a little bit later than other countries. So you get people studying some different subject and then turning towards music.
Right.
So I did that quite late. I think I was 26. And we have sort of, I'm now 31, but there's a generation of Greek musicians in their 40s that studied in the Netherlands, also in Codarts. So I met a lot of them, and it was a good vibe, nice level also, and it was a nice choice. I'm really happy I went there.
Yeah, because and you also went back, because my experience at Codarts also is that most of the foreign or European students, they stay a bit longer in the Netherlands also, but they also return, and I'm always curious, like what happens there, you know? Or can you recognize your specific skill set, or is it really different? And yesterday, I think I sort of witnessed that the talent is here as much as everywhere else, you know, so that's fantastic. And for teachers who had the experience themselves to go abroad and to know the challenges and to come back and bring it back, of course, is also fantastic. And yesterday I was thinking about the fact that we had some students or some applicants that were indeed a bit older and studied something else, and really felt like if I don't do it now, if I don't try out now, I will never do it again. And that was very touching to us also, because we had somebody who was thinking about it 6 years already, and she really came yesterday, did her thing, and convinced us all. And she's now on the list. So, you know, the dream keeps going, and I think being an artist, or not so much an artist, being a musician or somebody in the arts with the world we're living in now, it's very much needed that we keep, you know, the dream alive, even if you're a bit older. So from that standpoint, I applauded her too. Anyone who has not been to abroad to study but had a great study here, who wants to share how that was? Who studied here in Greece, music? You did. Only me. Only you? Who else? You? Okay. You too? Okay. Can I start with you for a moment? You also, he worked his butt off yesterday also. Fantastic. Can I ask you why you stayed in Greece, for instance?
Well, it was a long time ago that I studied.
So the opportunities.
So, yeah, it wasn't, I mean, it was difficult, but back then, the only thing that we knew of was the United States.
Yeah.
So it was very far, because I'm talking about the 80s now. It was, you know, far, too expensive, too scary, because back then the world seemed like a much bigger place than now. So, but I was lucky enough to have some great education in a music school in Thessaloniki, my hometown, which was way ahead of this time, of its time. So, that's my experience.
Yeah, I think that's also great. And, you know, I'm not here, I mean, I'm selling Codarts, of course, to you also, because I would love for all the big talents to come to Codarts also. But it's really a sharing experience, what we did yesterday also, and talking with amongst the teachers and sharing our experience. So who is here from an educational, I mean, you come from another conservatory, I hear. Can I ask you a question? Or do you have a question? You don't have a question? So, what brought you here?
I want to study Europe, and I was searching about universities. So I thought Netherlands, it's still in Europe, because I want to go to England. I don't know what is going to happen with Brexit and stuff. So I want to go to Netherlands to study. and my friends are going abroad, so we are all going out of here.
So yeah, many reasons to do it or to not do it. Thank you for sharing that. Who has another question for me? Who wants to know about credit points or study programs? Credit points, study programs, nobody wants to know. Somebody, yay!
Hello. I would like to ask what kind of genres are in the pop program? I mean, like you do funk studies or a bit of jazz, or it's combined?
Yeah, that's a great question because we don't define those things. So we have from, let's say, electronic house music to death metal. So the whole so the whole scope. What we do at the pop department as well as the jazz department, that we have a sort of, in the first 2 years, we want to also invite the students to try out other skill sets. So if you are a metal drummer, we will tell you, now play funk. Which is, surprisingly possible. If you think, no, really. You just have to tell them, play less. That's okay. That's fantastic. So, that's it. So we don't do funk studies or this studies. Basically, what we try to do is put the student in the middle, and because we have the audition. An audition is basically about what do you bring to the table? What are you thinking of? Where do you want to go? How well do you know the world out there? And how do you want to aim for your goals? And how can we facilitate and support you? So we're not sitting there like, no, okay, no, you're not a funk singer. No, indeed, you're not a funk singer. No. What is it that you want to do? If you go like, but I am a singer-songwriter actually, and I want to do my own work. Like the girl you saw singing with the pop orchestra, Carmen Forbes, she's a singer-songwriter. She writes all her own stuff, produces her own stuff, brings it out, and then puts it across. So it's more about that. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to profile yourself on? And if you want to be more like a session musician, which in the olden days was very normal that you had like session musicians, I think that's still very valuable because playing together is at the core of making music. But also that business has changed, so you have to rethink your profile and be much more aware of where it is that you want to go with it, and to learn how to get to know the world outside. So is that a bit of an answer to your question? Yeah? Okay. Anybody else? You want to see another clip of something? Yeah? You would like to see another clip? Well, I can provide that. Till what time do I have, actually? Am I over time? I can stop and we can go to the bar. It's also fine. One more last clip, and then I call it a day. If you don't have any more questions. Codarts Rotterdam. I'll end then with our general clip. Somebody with a question.
Is it a 24/7 the whole day? Hi. Is it a 24/7? Is it working 24/7? I mean, you can interact the whole day with all kinds of students of different genres, of from jazz and pop music. I mean, something like that.
Basically, yes. And I'm not there 24/7, I can tell you. But I know that these students, they start living together in the same houses. So it's not just that they meet each other in school. For instance, at the World Music and Dance department where we are 3 under one roof. So we have one main hall where you can see all the guests that we have. So from the newest flamenco to a jazz trio to pop concerts, everything. And we have a very nice introduction week where at the end of the introduction week also all departments are there, so circus and dance and everybody. And they live together in the town and they go out and they, you know. So it is basically organically things start happening that we cannot think of. And it's happened before, so a dancer who starts working with a DJ and, you know, stuff like that. So I would say and in the town, there's a lot of action because our students, because they are out there and they are really like go do. All the jam sessions in town are basically by Codarts students from every genre. So yeah, lots is happening there, and it's more and more, luckily. So thank you for that question. Another question. It always helps to say, I'm going to stop now.
I was wondering if you can describe a little bit the different profiles of potential students for the pop and the jazz department, so that for those of us who are working and helping them prepare, know where to direct them and how to help them join.
Great question. Who wants to know? Everybody wants to know, okay. It's an interesting question. I think basically what we see as a profile at our doors is that the pop musicians are a bit younger than the jazz musicians. So I have the experience that our jazz musicians did do other studies before and then they came. And the pop, that they are younger, like 17, 18. Because it's so alive, you know, it's there every day. I would say what I know that the teachers of the pop department are looking for is, and also of the jazz department, how well are you as a applicant immersed in the genre area where you want to work in? How much do you know? Can you name acts can you name inspiration? And in whatever you bring to the table. So most pop bands come with their own bands. They already have experience as performers or experience in recording sessions, not as session musicians, but just with their bands, you know, because the band principle is also reflected in the pop curriculum as well as the jazz curriculum, that the ensemble or the band is really actually the core of our education. So yeah, profile, it can be basically anything, but it mainly revolves around the story of the applicant also. So we have very young people who write fantastic repertoire, and they get in and they're 17, and then you have somebody else who is a bit older and has picked up an instrument and just a few years before discovered that he is a fantastic whatever player and that he wants to now go out in the world and become a musician. So, but of course we're looking for the, let's say, organic match between the instrument and what the applicants bring to the table, the availability of, you know, can you be educated? That's very important. So if you come in and every question we ask you go, but yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, then we go like, well, maybe you don't need to learn that much anymore, so maybe you don't need to be here then also, you know. So that open-mindedness. So we can have, and we have great discussions. So that's also a thing. Yeah, so it can vary very much. I would not really, I mean, I can give you so many examples of profiles. I mean, one that sticks out in my mind, and that's also an exception in our case, is that we had a pop guitar player who came in because he had basic skills as a pop guitar player. Through the studies, it was a bit difficult. He did his final exam. I really had to push him, like, now you do your exam, now you're done. He disappeared. I didn't see him for a while, and now he came back because he started doing YouTube tutorials on guitar, and he has 1 million subscribers. So this can also happen, you know, and you cannot think ahead of, is this going to happen? What it makes us be aware of is that nowadays there are many more stages than just a stage or a venue or a bar, and there's much more to do than being a teacher and a musician, which is now the profile we all have. But to become something else, because through technique and through new media, things are changing so rapidly. And we see it also in the awareness of our applicants. That's also changing. Does that help a bit? Is that a bit of an answer? Anybody else? No? Oh, yes.
It's 2 questions. Do you have a musical theatre department? Because you have dance and you've got music, and I think you do. And the second question is, do you have a distance learning department?
Yes, we have musical theatre. No, we don't have a distance learning department yet. So we are doing a lot with e-learning as much as we can, and trying to build our technique that we have in the institute around it. But we don't have our own tutorials by our teachers. We did set it up many years ago, but there were too many technical challenges, and now we are looking into how, if it's really needed in that way, if it's the profile of our institute, and you know, once the technique is there, then we can just go and do it, like, you know, happens. Thank you. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no? Then now I'm done. Okay, thank you again.